Hey, Ride Riders, Keith Wheeler here, back with another video for you. And today we're going to talk about how to save money on Amazon ads. If you're anything like me, when I was first starting out running Amazon ads, your budget is probably pretty tight. I mean, when I started out, my budget was tighter than my bill after a holiday dinner. So today I'm going to share with you 5 ways to save money when running Amazon ads. So let's dive right in. The first way to save money when running Amazon ads is to focus on relevant targets. Targets are like your keywords if you're running keyword ads, or categories or products, depending on what type of ad you're running. And Amazon's algorithm is number one, the highest priority is relevancy. And I talk about that a lot on this channel because that's what Amazon cares about. Because at the end of the day, Amazon cares about the customers and making sales. And the best way that they can ensure their chances of making sales is to show the customer something that's relevant to what they typed in. The CPC, the cost per click that you're paying, those are pennies. They don't care about that. They care about the dollars that they're making on the sales. So you want to make sure that whatever you're using to find the keywords or categories or targets that you're using in your ads, whether you're using Publisher Rocket, Helium 10, BookBolt, whatever you're using, or if you're doing it the old-fashioned way and you're just going on Amazon and searching that way, it doesn't matter. You want to focus on targets that are relevant to your book. So if your book is a children's book, if it's a picture book, then you don't want to just say children's book. That's too generic. Everybody's using that. That's creating children's books. You want to find something that is more targeted to your specific book. So is your book teaching about fears? Is your book teaching about friendship? Whatever. So those are more targeted. They're more relevant to your book. Now, of course, that's just an example with children's books, but it's the same whether it's military science fiction, if it's a nonfiction book, it doesn't matter. What is your book about? What does it help? Does it help teach something? Does it help educate? Does it help entertain? What are your main characters about? If it's a fiction book, all those little things are what people may type in that will point them in the direction of your book if it's relevant. So just because a keyword phrase is popular and it's got a lot of search results, if it's not relevant to your book, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to have to bid super high in order to even remotely get a chance of getting your book visible to that customer, because it's something that's being searched a lot, so it's super competitive, which we'll talk about in a second. But also, if it's not relevant, Amazon's going to very quickly learn that showing your book to that customer that's making that search isn't going to turn into a sale. And so no matter what you bid, you're never going to get it, because Amazon's algorithm knows it's probably not going to turn to a sale. So again, number one is to focus on relevant targets. Tip number 2 is to focus on low-hanging fruit. And this is what I was talking about before when I was talking about competition. Low-hanging fruit are things that are their targets, keywords, depending on what type of ad you're running. Low-hanging fruit are the ones that have a lower cost per click because they're most likely less competitive. You don't need to have this really expensive, high-performing ad right away that is just chock full of all the expensive keywords that everybody's searching for, or all the products that everybody's trying to bid on. That's a great way to get your cost per click way higher than you really need it to be. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to, especially when you're first starting out and your budget's tight, focus on those low hanging fruit. They may not get as much search volume. Not as many people are searching for it. But again, if they're relevant, when they do search for it, your book will show up. And because they're not as competitive, their cost per click is going to be a lot lower. So when I'm first starting out with a niche that I'm not familiar with, or, I don't have a big budget to spend on that particular book, then what I'll do is I will make sure that I might have one competitive keyword or product or category, depending on what time of ad I'm running. But the rest of them are going to be the lower hanging fruit, the ones that, again, may not be searched as much or as frequently, but because of that, they're lower cost per click. And because I'm only picking targets that are relevant to my book, like we talked about in the first tip, I know that because it's not as competitive and I don't have to it doesn't cost as much to get that sale, and my book is relevant, I have a much better chance of getting that sale and not breaking the bank while I'm doing it. The third tip to saving money when running Amazon ads is to always, and I mean always, in all caps, always use copy text. When you're running your ad, you're going to get an option. It's going to default to standard text, to a standard copy, which means it's only going to show your book cover, your price point, your title. And it might show how many reviews you have and what your overall review rating is, but that's it. That leaves so much empty space where you could really increase your chances of getting a sale. Use copy text. Again, always use copy text. Okay. Copy text is a way for you to speak to that customer. So when they're scrolling and they just see ad after ad and then a book and then an ad and then a book, if you have something there, something else, something to speak to them, there's a much better chance you're going to do what we call stop that scroll. You want to stop the scroll. And the best way to do that is with copy text, but not just any copy text. You want to make sure that, again, you're speaking to that customer. People buy and make decisions based on emotion. So if you can tell them that emotion, whether it's happiness, sadness, you're going to fill a void, they're looking for something in your book as nonfiction, whatever, you need to talk to the customer, speak to them, get them to not just stop the scroll, but get them to read whatever you write in there. It's 150 characters, whatever you write in there, make them say, yeah, this guy gets me. This girl gets me. And they'll click, and a much better chance that they're going to buy the book. And a great way to do this is a tip, a hidden tip inside that. And that is use your competitors' negative reviews. That's right. And I talk about this when you're creating your book. You always want to look at your competitors' reviews, the positive ones to see what they're doing right, but the negative ones to see what they're doing wrong. And you can use that to make your book better. But also, especially if you're seeing a trend inside the negative reviews, use those to speak to your customer, your potential customer, and really use that negative information as a way to sell your book. Here's an example. So we've talked about children's books and nonfiction and in fiction. Let's talk about puzzle books. Okay. If you're creating a puzzle book and a really big trend right now is that people are creating puzzle books, and then at the back of the book, they're including a link to a website where people can get the answers to those books, the answers to those puzzles. And they're getting a lot of negative reviews because people don't like that. So if you were to create a puzzle book and you had your answers in the back of the book, you can say in your copy text for your ad, you can say, tired of puzzle books without the answers in them? This puzzle book has all the answers. Just something simple like that. Again, 150 characters or less, but you're taking a negative review from your competition and using that as a selling point for your book. And like I said, putting it in the copy text on your ad will get their attention right away and a much better chance of getting them to click and hopefully getting them to buy. Now, the fourth way that you can save money running Amazon ads is to steer away from the new features. Now, this may go against many videos you're seeing from other people. There's a new shiny object. There's a new, right now, the big thing is you can run video ads. Video ads are great. I've run them. I've seen great deal of success, especially when you're first starting out, or if you've been doing it for a while, but you still have a limited budget. Once a new feature comes out, everybody's using it. Everybody's trying it out. All the gurus are talking about it. And so then everybody else is trying it out themselves. And what happens is it becomes super competitive, which makes the cost per click go up. So there's a reason why the old standbys are still there. There's a reason why there's still the keyword ads and the product ads and the brand ads. And, these ads that have been around for years, they've been around and people are still using them because they work. And the video ads, don't get me wrong, like I said, they work, but because it's the new thing, it's like AI, it's always the new thing everybody's talking about. Because the video ads are the new thing, that's what a lot of people are going to be jumping on. And so the cost per click is going to go up. Whereas while people are spending money on that cost per click on the video ads, you might be able to get away with using the exact same keywords or the exact same, products or the exact same categories, all for a lower cost per click, just by sticking with the old faithful sponsored brand ads or sponsored keyword ads or whatever. So again, steer away from the new features, whatever they may be. Now, if you enjoyed these first 4 tips, then give that like button a smashy. It gives me that nice warm fuzzy feeling. And who knows, might even make me blush. Now, a little insider information. I'm actually considering doing an entire video all on ways to promote your book for free. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell notification so you get alerted every time I put out new videos just like this one and that one I'm talking about. So the fifth way to save money when running Amazon ads is to make sure that before you run ads, that your book is ready for it. You know, I've seen so many people spend money running ads and the book's not ready for it. Like, make sure you get a good book cover, one that fits your genre, but also stands out to the point where it stops the scroll. Make sure that you've got a good, solid book description. Don't just describe your book. You want to make sure that each line does one of two things, that either it gets them to read the next line, or more importantly, it gets them to click buy now. You want to make sure that your price point is on point, that it's competitive within your niche. And you want to make sure that if it's available in your area, that you have A+ content. That is a great way to make sure that you add extra images and other ways to make your book stand out. Bonus tip, one of the best ways to save money when running Amazon ads is to not use the suggested amount of cost per click that Amazon is suggesting. Okay. At the end of the day, Amazon's algorithm is, yes, it's making a suggestion based on what trends are out there, but you need to ask yourself if it really makes sense for you, if that cost per click really makes sense, because 99% of the time, what they're suggesting is not what you have to do. Like it's usually quite a bit higher than what you really need to win that bid. With very little exception, I almost never use the suggested Amazon ad cost per click. I'll usually do quite a bit lower. So that's something that I cannot stress enough. And that's one way that I've seen a lot of people spend a lot of unnecessary money running ads. Now, did you know that there are platforms besides Amazon ads that you can run ads to your books? Places like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, even Pinterest ads. I have an entire series where I walk you through running ads off of Amazon. But if you've already seen those videos, or maybe you're not ready for them yet, then YouTube says you'll love this video right here. I'll catch you inside one of these videos. And remember to write right.